Ask yourself, am I using my time wisely? Am I using my money wisely? Am I dealing with people wisely? These are 3 things that are key. And even if they are you being patient enough? Are you being consistent enough? Do you really want this? Are you working hard enough? People say they want things, but oftentimes don't put the work in. It may be time for you to grow. It may be time for you to start, thinking different, moving different, seeing different. And that requires for you to remove people from your life, deal with people accordingly. You have to just know that, with growth comes sacrifice. YouTube, welcome back to another video. We are back at it again. We are still on that 30-day challenge, and it is day what? Day 3? Day 4? I believe it's day 3. Either way, we're back at it, and we came here to show up as always and to give y'all this free game. Alright, in today's video, we're going to talk about the brighter side of being uncomfortable or discomfort, or what that actually means. Things are just happening to you and you're wondering why. You're doing all the right things, but things are still somehow not going in your favor. What that actually means, and how you can benefit from when things are not always going your way. Because it's life. Things are not going to always go your way. Stay focused and stay locked in to get to that other side of discomfort. All right. So like I just mentioned, you're probably wondering right now in your life, why is this happening? Why can't I get things right? Why can't my relationship work out? Why do I keep having these fallouts with the people I so-called call my friends, family members? You're wondering why things are just not going your way. There's 1 or 2 ways you can think about it. You can think about it from a positive perspective, or you can think about it from a negative perspective. Life's always about perspective, about how you view things, how you see things, ultimately how you view the world through a positive lens. If you're thinking about why things keep going south, you keep wondering why things are not in your favor anymore, why things just can't seem to go right. Well, a lot of the times it's because it's time for growth. A lot of the time you're still in situations where, people that were once, or the people that you thought were your friends or your loved ones, or the closest ones to you, a lot of times God heard things behind your back that you didn't hear. And what he's doing, he's showcasing, people's true skins, people's true feelings towards you. And sometimes, the reality hurts, the truth hurts, but when it's time for you to elevate, a lot of people that started with you or that have been with you for a while, they're not going to be able to make it with you to the next level. You can't bring them with you. And it's because of their individual characteristics that don't align with the things that you're trying to do. Growing up, yeah, it's cool to hang around, chill, waste your days, and kind of live a YOLO life. But once you start getting focused and you start really figuring out what you want to do with your life and you see the vision, a lot of times the people that that you spend the most time with are not aligned with that. And it's either going to go 1 or 2 ways. They're either going to be there to help you and to continue to help you prosper, or they're going to take away from you. And a lot of the times you don't understand, or it's not as visual or not as, transparent when people are taken away from you, especially the ones that you love, the ones that are closest to you. A lot of times that's being showcased as, let's stay out late tonight. Let's go to the club. Let's go to the bar. Let's spend unnecessary money that we don't really have. Let's spend money on food knowing that you have food at the house. Let's spend money on unnecessary materialistic things that don't really matter. Let's spend the money that, you wanted to use on maybe say a course or some type of information you need to further your career, whatever you're trying to do. Let's spend that money on, some BS. Let's spend that money on some weed, spend the money on some liquor. A lot of those times like that, those are examples of, people taking away from you. Because if you know that you're aligned and you're trying to go to a certain place in life, there has to be sacrifice. You can't party all day long. You can't get drunk all day long. You can't smoke weed all day long. All those things have side effects that will eventually slow you down. Now, to each his own. If that stuff helps you focus, then I'm speaking from another perspective. But at the end of the day, in order for you to get to where you need to go, you have to be you have to be the best version of yourself, which means you have to be in the right state of mind. You cannot have a cloudy brain trying to learn information, trying to put things together, because your brain will not function properly. And like I said, a lot of times the people that you love the most are taken away from you, and it's not as transparent for you to see. And it's the harsh truth. If I know that you're trying to get better or you're trying to prosper, I know that you're trying to, do things differently and really advance in your life. If I love you, I'm not going to make you, or I'm not going to suggest things for you to do when I know that you can be using your time wisely. You can use your money wisely. There's other things that are more of a necessity than the things that I think are fun. It's about sacrifice. Now, on the other hand, if you have someone that is aligned with you, that is also trying to reach goals, then, you all should be motivating each other. You guys can hold each other accountable. If one person slips up and says they want to do something that may not be beneficial to, the main goal, then that friend has to speak up and say, we're not going to do that today. We should be doing this because this is going to help us in the future, for our future. This is going to help us reach our goals faster. This is going to help us, gather the information that we need to get to where we need to go. This is going to help us build that. This is going to help us build that relationship with the people we need to get us in rooms that, money can't always get you into. And, like I said, it's the harsh truth. You have to be mindful of these type of things. A lot of times, like I said, the people that we grow up with, sometimes you guys start off parallel, and then sometimes, you guys end up going your separate ways. And it's not, it's not a bad thing. You have to start dealing with people accordingly based off of what they're trying to do with their life and what you're trying to do with your life. It won't make sense for you to be hanging around someone that is not goal driven or goal orientated. It doesn't make sense to hang around someone all day long that is not goal orientated if you're trying to reach your goals. Because what beneficial advice can they give you? Are they working just as hard as you? Know? Do they know what it takes to make the sacrifices to get where you need to be? No. So what do you think they're going to have you doing? Doing things that's going to slow your process down. Doing things that's going to have you spending unnecessary money that you shouldn't be spending on. Doing things that, wasting time, valuable time. When you could be doing things that could help you in your future, that could benefit you in your future. And like I said, it's not always easy to really figure out, what who's who, unless you're really thinking about things like this. Because, like I said, a lot of times it comes from people that we love, and they may not necessarily mean well. They may not necessarily mean any harm to it, but it's the reality of the truth. If I'm trying to go to where I need to go, I can't be doing certain things anymore. There has to be a certain level of sacrifice that has to be made. No more unnecessary spending money on things that, don't bring any real return to you. And like I said, it sucks because it comes from the people that you think that, the closest ones to you. So when these type of distractions are happening, you're wondering why you're not where you're at in life. You're wondering why, damn, I don't have enough money to get this piece of information that I need to get. I don't have enough money to book this trip that I need to go to a conference that, is going to allow me to network with other people in my field where I can actually grow. You're wondering why you don't have the money for this stuff. You're wondering why you don't have the time for this stuff. Because you're using your time and your money in other places that don't benefit you. This is why. This is why things are not going your way. You're not being productive. You're not being mindful of what you're doing, how you're spending your time, and how you're spending your money. It's the harsh truth. 9 times out of 10, a lot of the reasons why things are not going in your favor is because of the small adjustments that you have to make. They're very small adjustments that can make a big difference in your day-to-day life, your day-to-day success, your day-to-day goal reaching, or your week-to-week goal reaching. And like I said, it's all these small tweaks. Because, like I said, it's about being mindful and being smart about what you do with your time, the people you hang around with, how you're spending your time, how you're wasting your time, whether or not you're being productive or not. All that matters. A lot of times too, it's one of the biggest things too, it may be time for you to grow. It may be time for you to start, thinking different, moving different, seeing different. And that requires for you to remove people from your life, deal with people accordingly. You have to just know that, with growth comes sacrifice. With growth comes, seeing different, doing different, ingesting different. And, it's a certain level of leadership that comes within that. There's a certain level of ownership. There's a certain level of willpower as well, because as you continue to grow, you start to see things different. You start to see things for what they really are instead of what you want them to be. Because not only now are you thinking from a different lens, but you're seeing what really makes sense and what doesn't make sense. A lot of times you'll reflect back as well to your past and think about all the stuff that you thought made sense at the time, that does no longer make sense anymore, because you know how the importance of time, you understand the importance of, relationships, you understand the importance of just being smart and wise. When you think about things like this and you're wondering why things are not going your right way, ask yourself, am I using my time wisely? Am I using my money wisely? Am I dealing with people wisely? These are three things that are key, whether or not things are going your way. And even if they are you being patient enough? Are you being consistent enough? Do you really want this? Are you working hard enough? People say they want things, but oftentimes don't put the work in. And it's crazy too, because a lot of the times, when it's time to grow, when things are not going the way you want them to go, it's usually a sign of growth. And, things are going to hurt you. Relationships are going to end. This can be with, family members, boyfriends, girlfriends, and, things are going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But all that hurt, it really is, in our reality, is weakness leaving your body. The same way you lift weights, same way you work out, those first few days you're sore and it's aching and it's hurting, that's the weakness leaving your body. Because as you recover, you become stronger. And the same analogy with the people. That hurts. But that's just the weak people leaving your life, leaving your situation, because those are the ones that are stunting your growth from growing. It hurts. But once you recover from that, you're a lot stronger. That's the same way you got to look at it. A lot of times, like I said, when it's time to elevate or it's time to grow, you get into a discomfort phase. You're feeling uncomfortable because you're somewhere where you're not used to being. All the comfortable people, all the comfortable things that you're used to doing are no longer there. They're no longer available for you anymore. Because it's time for you to take it to another level. You can't rely on your comfort anymore. You have to rely on getting better, smarter. You have to rely on, using your head a lot more, being wiser, being thoughtful, making sure things make sense. And that's what it's about. There's still beauty, to the ugly. It's just like turning a negative situation to a positive. There's still some positive out of a negative. There's still some beauty out of the ugly. It's how you look at it in life. You can't expect to have different results if you're doing the same thing. Things have to change, always. Always things have to change if you expect for new results. You can't possibly think you're going to get new results when you're still dealing with your old ways and you're still going back to your old ways. You still have your old habits. You can't expect to have new results with old habits. Things have to change. They have to change. And, that's just part of, the growth, the discomfort. Things are not going to always go in your way, but you have to stick to it. And a lot of times, things are not going your way. Like I said earlier, maybe you're not going hard enough. You think you're going hard? Maybe you got to go a little harder. Maybe you got to spend a little more time on your craft. Maybe you got to be a little more wiser with your money. Maybe you got to be more wise with the people you're hanging around with. How long you're hanging around with them. Maybe you got to be more wise. Maybe you got to spend more time actually figuring out how to do things. It's a skill to be able to figure out and learn information, to differentiate the fluff from the actual information. Maybe you got to spend more time doing that. It's all about how you look at things in life. But just know that when you're consistent enough and you're focused and you're really giving your all, God always has a way of rewarding you with that. It may not be when you want it to be, but the goal is to stay focused, stay consistent, and continue to do your best. Do things righteously. Don't try to get over on people. Don't try to scam people, because all that stuff comes back to you. Karma is real. I'm gonna tell you, karma is real. Karma is real. No matter how you look at it, if you think you're gonna get over, you're not. That's one thing you can't hide from. Karma. So be mindful about what you do, because whatever you do comes back to you. If you think you're gonna, be successful by scamming somebody, be successful by doing people dirty, taking advantage of them, it's not gonna work that way. Because what can happen is, God has a funny way of, making you feel the hurt that you gave people. And it could be a situation where you scam somebody, you do somebody dirty, you do something not righteous to get over on somebody. And, say hypothetically you do, things end up going right for you. God will allow for you to get things go right. He'll allow for you to get to where you need to be, to get to your goal. To get to your goal. And you thinking everything's all good. And guess what? He'll snatch all of that away from you and leave you with nothing. And there's different ways that can go about. There's so many different ways that can happen. Just for you thinking that you can be sneaky and get away with doing things not righteously and not being real with yourself and real to people, I'm telling you, God will lead you all the way to the path that you think you're supposed to be going and snatch it right away from you and bring you back to ground zero. Leave you depressed. I'm telling you, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. Don't ever think you're ever getting over on people, especially the good people that do things good for you. But you should never be trying to do that to anybody anyway. But, like I said, karma's real. Be mindful about what you're doing and, do everything righteously. On your way to success, don't try to get over on nobody. Be real, be honest, be truthful, and just do things the right way. Give it your all. Don't do things and have to worry about, dang, I might have to have karma down the line. This might be my karma back down the line. It feels good to know that, when you do things well, you do things correctly, that you don't got to worry about no bad karma coming your way. It feels good to know that when you honestly are doing things you're supposed to be doing, and, you don't have to worry about any type of, bad energy coming your way or bad karma coming your way, because you've done all you can do to be the best version of yourself. So remember that. Be mindful of that as well. A lot of times too, when you're going through, your phase and it's discomfort, you're dealing with discomfort, being uncomfortable, this also a way of God making sure this is what you want. God making sure that, you're really ready for it. Or at the same token, he could be building you up to be ready for it. He could be getting you ready for the next stage in your life. And that just comes with you being aware and seeing things, seeing how people are, seeing how devious people can be, seeing how relationships are what you make them to be. Sometimes you stay in situations or relationships a lot longer than you're supposed to, based off how the person been treating you, or how you've been treating them, or just how things have been going as a whole. And you get tested to see whether or not you can make the right choice. Because if if you're constantly going through the same thing and you're not being mindful of that, God has a way of, it's like, either you take the signs or you get hit with the harsh reality and you end up with your feelings hurt because you didn't take the initiative of the signs early on and you want to keep going. So what happens is you tend to push something on a lot longer than what it's supposed to be. And guess what happens? Things just keep getting worse and worse and worse until your feelings are really hurt and then there's no return. So be mindful of all that type of stuff, those type of things as well. Things are going to happen. You only can have control over the things that you have control over. That means you should only be worrying about things you have control of, not the things that are out of your control. Because if they're out of your control, there's nothing you can do about it. But if there's things that you can do, those are the things you can tend to, I wouldn't even say worry. I want to say more so problem solve and see what you can do to make things better for you. But the things that other people are doing, you have no control over. The things your partner does when you're, behind your back, you have no control over that. Don't worry about it. Leave it in God's hands. And that's the reality of it. Because if not, you'll be worrying yourself to death. And you don't want to be worrying about things you have no control over, because what happens is you drain yourself. You drain your energy. You drain, your motive. You drain your body. And it'll wear on you physically and mentally and spiritually. Your energy level will be down. Not just from a physical perspective, but from a spiritual perspective or a mental perspective. You'll find yourself in a depression because you don't want to deal with anybody. You don't want to talk to anybody because you're not feeling like yourself. Because you're so worried about something else that you have no control over. So, be mindful, be wise, and, things are going to happen in your life. Some of the things you'll have control over, and some of the things you will not have control of. We're only worried about the things you have control over because those are the things you can problem solve and do your best to make things as best as they can for you or your situation. The things you have no control over, don't worry about it. Leave it in God's hands and let it go. Because if you have no control over it, what can you possibly do? The only outcome from that is worrying, wear and tear on your body. And you don't need that. You gotta elevate. So, be mindful of that, and, just think about it. I hope I was able to bring some type of value, or, open your mind up to some things that maybe happen in your life that you don't have control of, or maybe some things that you do have control of and you don't know what to do. Life's all about perspective, and the more you're able to look at things from two sides, meaning a negative side and a positive side, in a sense of just weighing out your options, you'll come to a better sense of what to do when things don't go your way. Things are not going to always go your way, but the reality is, what are you going to do when that happens? Are you going to pout? Are you going to complain all day long? Or are you going to do things to put yourself in the best situation possible? A lot of things are out of our control, which means that there's certain things you should be worried about, and there's certain things you should not be worried about because they're out of your control. If it's out of your control, there's nothing you can do but leave it up to God. Pray about it, leave it up to God. But the things you do have control of, you want to be mindful. You want to be strategic on how you go about doing things the right way to make yourself feel better, or to make your situation better as well. And it's just, as far as like discomfort is a sign of growth. It's a sign of growth. The same analogy I mentioned about the weights, discomfort is the weakness leaving your body. In terms of relationship, when the ones that are not meant for you leave your life, that's the weak ones leaving your life, so that you can become stronger, so that you can elevate, because they're not doing any good for you anymore based off of where you're trying to go in your life. So always remember that. It's a give and take. It's a pros and cons. It's a negative and a positive. But it's all about how you view things in your life. All right? Discomfort is okay. There's beauty to that. Understand that. All right? But I hope I was able to bring some value, or provide some value, some clarity for you all to kind of see things and see life in a different lens. Because like I said, we don't always have control of things. There's things we have control of, and there's things we don't have control of. Life's all about perspective. Be mindful, be positive, and 10 times out of 10, things will go your way. If they don't go your way, that you'll be able to make sense of it and make the best out of your situation. And that's still a win-win. All right? Like always, like I said, this is day 3 of the 30-day challenge, and we're going strong. We're still at it. All right? So if y'all got any questions for me, make sure you leave them down in the comments. I appreciate all of y'all for watching and tuning in. All right? We are on the road to 500 subscribers and counting, and more. That's just the beginning. We're going to get that YouTube plaque. We're going to go from hundreds of subscribers, to thousands of subscribers, to millions of subscribers. It don't stop. We're on the rise. 2025 is our year. 2025 is your year as well. Let's get right to it and get this W in life. Let's win. All right? I appreciate y'all like always. And I'll see y'all on day 4. All right? Appreciate y'all. It's your boy Big Stitchy. Peace.